All right. Welcome everybody who is joining. All right. Excited to see all of you. We're going to kick off in just a minute or so, but just wanted to give everybody time to get in here and get settled before Rich and I get going here. So I'm excited about the message we have today. All right. Looks like we've got a good chunk of people in. Give everybody a couple more minutes. So, how's the weather where you're at, Rich? What state are you in again?
I'm in Utah. It
Oh,
is
you're
it,
in Utah.
it is a delightful spring day,
Oh, well, wonderful. Better than the snow that I have then.
which is where?
Michigan.
Well, I mean, what did you expect when you moved to
I
Michigan?
know it's my own fault. I live where the air hurts my face. That is my problem. I do agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. I was uh I was hopeful because yesterday we were installing fences in 60 degrees and my guys had two fences to do today. And then I saw snow this morning and I said, ugh, why does it have to snow? All right.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, we're getting up on May here.
Yeah, I know. I know. I thought it was okay to put my boots away, and I apparently was wrong. So that's, yes, exactly. All right. We've got a few people in here. We'll give them another minute or two to get in here. But welcome everybody who's already in our webinar. So good to see all of you. I see some familiar names. I see some new names. So glad to have all of you here. Once we get started here, once we get Rich going and we get going on our webinar, any questions you have, we'll take at the end. I know Rich and I both like to save a few minutes for the end. So if anybody has a question, we can address those. Rich will be happy to answer those. So definitely wanted to save a few minutes. So make sure if you have a question through this process, you write your questions down because I got to tell you, you're going to hear a lot of good information. And by the end, you're probably going to forget the question you thought of minute five, right? So make sure you write down any questions you have. So at the end, we can answer those for you and see what we've got there. So yeah. All right. So looks like we're approaching the 20 mark. We should have we'll have close to 20 people filtering in here soon, and probably many more that are showing up a few minutes late. But yeah, definitely wanted to get going, make sure we preserve most of our time because Rich has a great message for everybody today, and I want to make sure we have plenty of time for that. So, um, for those of you that do not know the gentleman on the call with me today, this is Rich Harshaw of Level 10 Contractor. They are an agency that handles plenty of media services for home improvement companies. And I just am most impressed, if I could just speak frankly, about some of Rich's thoughts on our identity and around things that influence every channel for marketing that we have coming in. Often we're really focused on lead gen and we're really focused on branding or a combination of the two. But what Rich focuses on goes kind of deeper than that. And so I think this is going to be great information for everybody, on the webinar. And I think at the end, you guys are going to have some great ideas as to, how you can apply some of the stuff he's talking about. But more importantly, if you have any questions, I know Rich will be happy to answer those. And then if you also want to find out more about Level 10 Contractor, we'll be happy to get you in touch with them because they've got some great services to offer. I have several clients that have used them for TV and media, and I mean the conversions are extremely high on the leads they get from Level 10. Rich, just so you know, two or three of my clients have specifically said that the leads that come from your office that originated from you guys executing a campaign, that those leads are converting among the highest of all the lead sources they have. So definitely wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll talk about why as we get into this.
Yes, absolutely. Let me go ahead and turn it over to make you the presenter, Rich, and then with no further ado, I'll let you go ahead and get started. It looks like we're over 20 people now and more trickling in. So go ahead and do that. All right.
All right, I'm going to make sure I'm sharing the right thing here. All right, I think that's it.
Yes, I can see it. Good deal.
All right. Yeah, this is called the $10 million marketing lead gen plan for remodelers. And I want to be super specific with this. We're going to talk a lot about lead gen today. We're going to talk a tiny bit about TV and radio, some of those kinds of things. I'll give you an idea of what it is we do over here at Level 10 Contractors. We get into this a little bit, but I want to talk about setting a foundational lead flow for your company every month so that when you wake up on the first day of the month, you have a pretty darn good idea of what you can expect in terms of your foundational lead flow for that month. So that's what we're going to talk about today, the $10 million lead plan. And we're going to do a little bit of math here, so caution as we get into this. I'm going to put this on the screen. This is a client of mine called Sugarman's Bath. They're a bathroom remodeling company out in Southern California, San Diego, and Orange County. And here's what I want to show you. I want to show you what they've been able to generate using the strategies that I'm going to be talking about today in terms of organic and also pay-per-click leads from Google. So what I'm really talking about today is building a foundation of leads for your company every single month, month in, month out from Google. Why Google? Is it because Google's the only game in town? No, it's not because of that. It's because Google is where the high intent search people are that are actively looking for what it is you sell. Now, as you'll see, I'm very interested in radio and television. A lot of the things that Tony Hody Training does, and particularly what Megan's talking about, are face-to-face marketing, whether it be canvassing or retail, things on the phone. All of that stuff is important. All of that stuff is good. But I'm starting at the very foundational element of your marketing plan. And here's where it is. It's Google. Now, here's what I want you to look at on the screen. I want you to look at the lead flow for the last year from this client. Now, I need to be very, very specific. These leads that I'm showing you are what we call quotable leads. A quotable lead is a lead that comes in that's actually a lead. It's not somebody trying to sell you toner cartridges. It's not a customer who looked you up online and accidentally clicked on your pay-per-click ad. These are actual leads that want what you sell. And as you can see, starting a year ago, April 2024, a total of 307 leads, which is 134 organic. Now, here's what organic is. These are leads that come in from people finding you via the search results of Google. That could be the actual search listings, or it could be in the Google business profile section, the map section. Either one of those combined, 134 versus 173 pay-per-click leads for a total of 307. And as you go through this, you'll see the first 5 months were remarkably consistent. 307, 319, like statistically speaking, that's an insignificant difference. And then as we get into September, October, it goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit for November and December. It is seasonal. I think everybody understands that. And then look what happens when we hit January, February, and March. March, we just had the biggest lead month ever for this client partner, 458. Now, again, I want to be super clear with you here. I'm not talking about all the leads that come into their business. I'm talking about all of the leads that come in specifically from Google organic search and from pay-per-click. Now, here's what you might be thinking. Hey, that sounds really cool, but we've tried that and it doesn't work. In fact, it's been a monumental disaster. We haven't really figured out how to crack the code. Yeah, I know. That's what we're here to talk about today. If you already knew how to do this, you wouldn't be on the webinar today. You would be out there, running all your 458 leads or whatever. And look, I know you've got other lead sources, things that you're really, really good at, what I call your bread and butter, the lead sources that are consistent. What I'm suggesting on this webinar today is that you can and should make Google the foundational bedrock of your lead generation strategy, okay? So we'll circle back to this, to Sugarman's Bath. Do want to show you what it means to be a quotable lead. Whenever our clients get leads, we send them an email. The system sends it automatically, as you can imagine. And here's what it says. You just received a phone call. You can listen to it by clicking play. You can click download, and then you decide if it's a quotable lead, yes or no. If it is, click green. If it's not, click no. And by the way, if you don't click it, we come in the next day by noon and we click that for you so that we can keep very, very clean records. Also, if it comes in as a web form or even a chat or a text message, you'll get one of these. Okay, so I'm just emphasizing that these are actual, real, quotable leads that are coming in. Okay, now here's the result of this. Sugarman's Bath from their website is generating an average of 366 quotable leads per month with an 80% set rate, 269 appointments per month. Okay, you following the math with me here? 33% close rate, 89 closes a month. Average sale is 15,000 for bathrooms. That's $1.3 million a month in sales. So I started this conversation by saying this is a $10 million a month marketing plan. It's actually, with a little bit of patience and a little bit of know-how, it actually can be much more than that. But hey, let's set expectations in the right place. So 1.3 million in sales. Conservatively, let's say it's $1 million in sales, which is still more than 10 million. It's quick math would say it's 12 million. Okay. And it comes in like clockwork. Okay. And again, if you think back to the data that I just showed on the previous slide, it just comes in every month. Now it gets a little bit better over time, a little bit less during some of the seasonal areas, but conservatively $1 million of sales. That's a good way to build a foundation of your business. And this image is you putting your foot on the floor on the first day of the month, knowing that you've got, well, in the case of these guys, a minimum of 300 leads coming in, and more recently as much as almost 500. We like to say you can generate 200 to 500 leads a month, and I'm showing you absolute proof, and I'm going to show you not just proof that it works, I'm going to show you how to actually do it. Because here's what we all know. Hey, have you had an SEO or web company before that you've worked with, an agency? And everybody says, yeah, we've had a ton of them. Okay, well, how's that going? And the answer is always, it's going bad. It sucks. It's terrible. We hate them. I was on a call the other day. A guy was saying, hey, you guys charge 15% of ad spend for pay-per-click management. There's other agencies that will do it for 6 or 7 or 8%. What do you think about that? And I looked at him and I said, why are you on the call with me? I doubt you're on this call with me because the agency that's charging you 7% is killing it for you. They're not killing it for you. They're killing you, not killing it for you. So the idea here is let's get some predictable income. Let me tell you who I am, and then we'll get into the heart of the matter of how to do this, because I want you to understand that there is a way that this actually works. Here's who I am. My name is Rich Harshaw. I'm the founder and CEO of Level 10 Contractor. Started in 1994, been in business for 30 years. Yeah, I know I look like I'm very, very young. That's a joke. I don't. But I've been going for a while. Been doing remodeling and home services since 2005, thanks to a gentleman by the name of Tim Mush, which I think everybody knows who that is. He got me into this industry by doing a webinar like this 20 years ago, and I've been at it ever since. Worked with some of the biggest, most successful companies in the industry. Some of these companies you may have heard of: Horizon Services, large air conditioning conglomerate on the East Coast; Service Champions, large air conditioning conglomerate on the West Coast; 1-800-Hanson's, Renewal by Anderson. Those are some of the bigger customers that we've had and still have in some cases that you may be aware of. But I want you to know we've worked with hundreds of smaller companies, companies of all sizes. We're an elite agency. We work with elite companies, specializing in companies that are about $5 to $20 million in sales. Our biggest client did $109 million last year. Our smallest client probably did $2 or $3 million last year. And then the sweet spot, again, $5 to $20 million. We're an elite level marketing agency. Here's what we do. We build websites. That's our bread and butter. And then we do SEO services. And I'll show you why that's important as we go through this conversation today. SEO is really just a way to make your website bigger with more pages over time so that you can capture more leads from more places. I'll show you exactly what that means, but that's one of the main services that my agency offers. Also digital advertising services, pay-per-click, like you've just seen, also Facebook advertising, TV and radio, and we're getting very heavy into streaming advertising. I'll touch on that at the very end if we have time. We may not, who knows? Also, I do a podcast. It's called the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. If you're interested in what you hear today, you may want to check out the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. It's literally a daily podcast. It's literally been going for 5.5 years. That's over 2,000 episodes. Any marketing topic that you may ever be interested in for contractors, it's covered on there in detail many, many times. Okay? All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Show you how to build $1 million a month foundation just from Google. So first thing we got to do is look at Google and say, how does it work? Do you understand how Google works? One of the most pernicious lies that is pervasive in this industry is that Google is always changing the algorithm, and therefore it's impossible to know and understand how to get ahead because Google is always changing the thing. As soon as you get good and you get some leads coming in, it changes it. It's not true. Google does change the algorithm. That is true. But the main reason that Google is changing the algorithm is twofold. Number one, it moves in response to improvements and upgrades of technology. So websites that perform well now are not the same technology that performed well in 2005, for example. And then the other thing that's changing within the algorithm is Google's trying to catch people that are trying to game the system. And so the algorithm changes to catch the latest scam. Okay. That's really what's happening. So as an easy to understand example, 20 years ago, there was a scam where you could make the text color the same color as the background on the web page so that people couldn't see it, but Google saw it, and then you could stuff keywords into your website and that would somehow work. And then Google figured out that that was stupid, and it put a huge penalty for doing that. Okay, so you've got to understand how Google works. I'm going to show you probably for the first time in your entire life how Google actually does work, and here it is. I'll show you how it works in just a second. Let me show you what the plan is. Here's the plan. You're going to get 50 quotable leads a month from SEO, organic search, also 50 a month from Google Business Profile, which is part of your SEO, 50 quotable leads from pay-per-click, and 50 quotable leads from LSA. That's a total of 200 leads per month. And these are non-competitive quotable leads, okay? Quotable leads, like I talked about earlier, non-competitive meaning you're not buying these from an aggregator who's selling them to 18 other people also at the same time. Now, here's what I don't mean by what's on the screen. I don't mean that you are going to generate precisely 200 leads in precisely quarters as shown on the screen. This is the general plan, okay? Some of our clients do very well in LSA, Google Guaranteed. Others don't participate at all because it doesn't work well in their area for typically for competitive reasons. But also many of our clients have far more leads per month than 50 from organic or from Google Business Profile or from pay-per-click. But this is the foundational program that we're working with here, okay? So here's what I want to show you, 27. Here's what that is. 27 is the average score that we see on website audits that we do on behalf of contractors like you to see how their website is performing. And by the way, that's 27 on a scale of 100. So think about this. Your kid comes home from school. Let's say he or she's in high school. She brings home a 27 in math, a 32 in science, 14 in language arts. As a parent, how you feeling about that? Obviously, the answer is you probably not feeling great about that. It's a terrible score. I want you to understand this. The numbers that I showed you at the beginning, the average of 300 and what was it, 36, I believe, per month from pay-per-click and organic. This is not coming from a website that's scoring 27. 27 is a website that might look nice and it might work just fine for helping you to convert people that come to your website from other sources, but it's absolutely, positively, defamundoli, if that's a word, it's not going to drive traffic and therefore organic leads. It's just not. It can't. And I'll show you exactly why, and you're going to be, have the big light bulb come on over your head. So this is what it looks like. This is a web audit. You can see out on the screen here, this one scored below average, 16. 16 is the overall average score. We've broken this down into 4 different categories, which I'll explain as we go through this presentation today. But here's what you need to know. It's a 16. This website has no chance, literally zero, no chance to generate any reasonable amount of organic leads. Now, here's what you need to understand about that. If you're not generating organic leads from your website, guess what? It doesn't mean that Google's broken and that nobody's looking, and so therefore nobody's generating any leads. That's not what it means. It means that your competitors are getting those leads. You're all fishing in the same pond. It's just a matter of who understands how to do fishing better. Do you have the right poles? Are you in the right part of the river or the pond? Do you have the right bait? Are you fishing at the right depth in the right season for the right kind of fish? And if you understand this, you're going to get a ton of leads. And if you don't, you are going to not get a ton of leads. It's very simple. Now, look at this. This is the website audit for Sugarman's Bath. It was completed, what does it say? On the 1st of April. Scores a 96, including 100, 90, 95, and 97 on some of these various elements that I'll talk to you about as we go through this. 96. Well, guess what? There's a reason they're getting 300 plus leads and an average of about 200 leads a month from organic because the website works. Also, it makes their pay-per-click work better. So I'll make you a quick offer. I'll circle back to this later, but if you will scan the QR code, we'd be happy to do a website audit for you and look at your website and see if your kid is getting a 27 in math and a 16 in science and a 13 in language arts, or if your website is actually doing what it's supposed to do. Now, you might be asking, what is my website supposed to be doing? And the answer will be given in detail as we go through the next 20 to 30 minutes of this webinar. I want you to understand it. I don't want you to just look at this and go, oh, there's a way that works. Okay, whatever. I want you to understand how it is that it works and what the principles are behind it. Because two things. Number one, I want you to be able to evaluate whoever your SEO agency is now so that you can see if it's working, if they're doing it right, if they're doing it properly. Spoiler alert, probably not. And then so you can look at what you do need to do to improve and make it better. So if you'll fill out the form, it'll ask you to set a time. You'll meet with Ryan Hill. He's our SEO guru. He'll walk you through your report. Again, it's going to look something like this. It's probably not going to be that good of a score. Just being honest with you, the average score that we see is 27. But if you'll fill that out, we'd be happy to do that website audit. Now, let's get into the content of how this actually works. First thing, Google. You just need to be convinced that Google actually is a thing that can drive leads to you. I've got a bunch of stats on here. I won't go through them in detail. Here's all you need to know. Market share is 91.5%, and people are searching for what you sell on Google. Now, you might ask, what about AI? Is that a thing that's changing how search works? And the answer is yes. And also two things. Number one, it still hasn't made a huge dent in Google at this moment, although that dent will increasingly be large as time goes on. But number two, all of the underlying principles that make websites work in terms of getting found and shown in the rankings on Google also are the exact same principles that work for AI. Because you have to understand, what is AI doing? AI is simply, it's looking for the same signals from your website so it understands who you are, what you do, where you do it. And that'll become crystal clear as we go through this. Okay, so here's how Google really works. Now we're kind of exposing the secret sauce. First thing you need to know is Google does not rank websites. It doesn't. Here's what people think. Oh, we just built a new website. It's awesome. Look at it. It's cool. My customers say that they love it. It looks great. My wife says it looks amazing. Well, you don't just build a website and then all of a sudden Google starts ranking you somehow for some reason. That is not what happens. Here's what Google is actually doing. Google is actually ranking web pages. Now, what's the difference between websites and web pages? Well, what happens is when somebody searches, Google's looking for a precise match for what the person searched for. And if you want to win, you have to create specific pages that are precise match for specific searches, okay? Now, what we're talking about here is geographic and keyword relevance. Let me show you what I mean by this. I'm going to put a map on the screen. This is the map of World War II. This is what is called the Pacific Theater. In 2.5 weeks, I'll be traveling to Kansas to my grandfather's 100th birthday. He's a World War II veteran. He fought in the Battle of Midway, and then later he fought over here in Iwo Jima. Horrific things happened, as you can imagine. And I'm not bringing this up to dwell on horrific things or to brag on my grandpa, although I am bragging on my grandpa a little. It's 100. That's a lot. I want you to know this. When you go to fight a war, okay, here's what you are not doing. You don't just go fight the war. What you do is you strategically determine what battles are relevant that are worthwhile to fight, and you put troops in them, and then you fight those battles in those specific places. And SEO is a lot like that. It's kind of like war, okay? So what you've got to do is determine where it is that you want to dominate. Those are the geos, the geographic areas. You've got to determine what it is you want to dominate. Those are the keywords. And then these are what we call geo keyword pairs. So the very first thing you've got to understand is this concept of geo keyword pairs. Now, I will give $1,000 to any person who tattoos the phrase geo-keyword pairs on their forehead and sends me a picture. I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. That's dumb. But I'm just trying to emphasize that this is the keystone concept of our discussion today is geo-keyword pairs. And I want you to do a quick little mental audit. Do you even know what I'm talking about right now? Because if you don't, that means a couple things. Number one, it means that you have no idea how SEO and websites work. You have no idea how to generate leads because you don't even know the foundational concept. And number two, it means that whoever you've been using currently or in the past to help you do your website and your SEO has not explained this to you, which in my opinion is marketing malpractice, and you're suffering as a result of, what's the phrase? Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is getting pummeled by your competitors who are getting all the leads because you don't even know what a geo keyword pair is. So let me help you understand what a geo keyword pair is. Example, roofing in Auburn, Washington. That's a geo, roofing, Auburn, Washington, keyword, roofing, okay? Tub to shower conversions in Chula Vista, California. There's the geo keyword pair. And you might say, well, shouldn't it be Chula Vista, California, tub to shower conversion? It doesn't matter what order it goes in. It just matters that you've got the geo and the keyword in there, okay? And here's what I would ask you to do. I would ask you to create a list of the geo keyword pairs that are important to your business. So for instance, if you lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where I lived for a long time, currently in Utah, as I said with Megan as we started the not a podcast, webinar, I lived there for many, many years. There's about 200 cities in and around Dallas-Fort Worth, 200. And if you're a company that is servicing the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area, that's 200 geos. And if you sell 5 products, roofing, siding, windows, bathrooms, gutters, 5 times 200 is 1,000 geo keyword pairs. That's a lot. That is a lot. And you've got to create content that is relevant to all of those geo keyword pairs for you to show up in Google searches. Okay. Now, get a little bit ahead of myself. Let's tap the brakes and let's keep going on the presentation here. Okay. So what you're going to do is create troops. In the analogy, troops are pages, web pages that you're going to put into these battles. So on the screen there, tub to shower conversions, Chula Vista, California. What you're going to do is put a troop, a page onto your website that is optimized specifically for tub to shower conversions and also Chula Vista, California. Both of those things at the same time, the geo keyword pair. That is the foundational notion of how this works. If you understand that, you understand as much as, probably more than, most SEO experts. Okay. They're over there talking about backlinks and all this algorithm stuff. And the truth is, it's this simple. You've got to have pages that you put into the battles, and you've got to make sure that the pages that you have are optimized properly, okay? Now, there's 3 different kinds of pages that you can put on your website. The first one is called core pages. These are the main navigation of your website. They need to be identity-based. Now, here's what I mean by identity-based. They need to tell your story, make you the obvious choice, communicate who you are, how you're different, why you're better, what people can expect when they do business with you. Because I got news for you. If somebody finds your website through search, that's awesome. And also, it's no guarantee that they're going to decide that they want to fill out your form or call you on the phone and do business with you, because they're shopping, they're searching, they're looking for reasons to do business with one company over another. And the fact that they found you is a great start, but we've also got to convince them that they want to do business with you. So that's what the identity is about. I'll touch on that a little bit here in about 15 minutes or so. So hang with me. But for now, just know this: your core pages are there to convert. Okay, they're there to convert visitors to lead, and they should be optimized for a broad geographic area. Okay, so if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's 200 towns. You would want your core pages to be optimized for the geographic area, Dallas-Fort Worth, DFW Metroplex, something like that. But then we're going to create additional pages, which I'll show you in a minute. They're going to be more hyper-locally optimized. Okay, first, let me show you this. Right here, this is Sugarman's Bath. This is the very website that I mentioned that is generating literally over 300 qualified leads between organic and pay-per-click every single month. And all of this stuff up here, home, showers, bathtubs, walk-in tubs, why us, resources about us, these are considered the core pages. And you'll see right here, look, stunning 1 to 2 day bathrooms. Where? San Diego and Orange County, done right the Sugarman's way. If you clicked on why us, you would see some identity type information, okay? These are core pages. Now, let's go to the next kind of page, service area pages. Now, this is where you need to really pay super hyper close attention, because this is where the money happens, okay? It's service area pages. Here's what service area pages are. They're product pages for specific geos. So this would be like your roofing page for Auburn, Washington, or your tub to shower conversion page for Chula Vista, California. Service area pages. They should be optimized for specific geo keyword pairs. Specific meaning what? Specific towns within your service area, okay? specific towns. Most places that are reasonably large areas are going to have anywhere from 20 on the low end to, like the Dallas Fort Worth example, 200 geos on the high end, and everything in between. I've got a client that's in Muncie, Indiana, and they've got about 15 small towns, Anderson and I think Roswell and a few others. I can't remember off the top of my head. So specific geo keyword pairs, the keyword again is going to be the nature of what it is that you're selling, whether it be bathtubs or showers or roofing or air conditioners or whatever the heck it is that you're selling. Okay, these are going to be a major source of site traffic. And then the third kind of page is a blog page. These are going to be based on terms that people are actually searching for. Okay, so you ask most business owners, why do you have a blog? Well, first of all, do you have a blog? Yeah, I do. Okay, why do you have a blog? I don't really know. They just told me we needed one. And they kind of look at the blog as sort of this magazine article depository where you're going to write interesting stuff that people are going to, it's like the waiting room at the dentist where people are like, oh, here's a magazine, let me read it. That's not what your blog is there for. Here's what your blog is there for. You're going to take a longer keyword set, like how much does a new roof cost? And then you're going to take a geo, South Lake, Texas, and you're going to create an article, a blog article called how much does it cost for a new roof in South Lake, Texas? There's your geo keyword pair. And now people who are searching for those terms who live in South Lake, Texas, guess what? Boom, they land on that exact page. All right, so Megan, are you following me so far? Is this making sense?
Yes, 100%. And I am learning so much, I'm taking notes.
It's super easy once somebody just points it out to you. By the way, I am not a technology guy. I'm a marketing guy. I write content. That's what my personal core competency is. My company has a ton of competency in technology, and I've got all kinds of nerds that work for me. But here's what I want you to know. Most people don't understand this stuff because they don't understand nerdy stuff. And I don't understand this stuff, but I've spent the last 5 years figuring out what it is that makes SEO work and then translating it into plain English so I can come on a webinar like this and say, look, here's how it actually works. So hopefully it's in plain English. Okay, so let's get back to this. We got service area pages and blog pages. Think of these like special forces troops, okay? These are the ones that are gonna go in and kick some serious butt. These are the ones that are gonna actually drive traffic. Now, let's be clear, your core pages are important because once people come into your website from your service area pages and or your blog pages, then they're gonna look around through the rest of your site and it needs to be optimized properly. And it needs to have great content so that people can fall in love with your company and fill out a form or call you and become a lead, okay? Now, this is, again, Sugarman's Bath. I'm showing, this is a slideshow, not an actual website. And here's what you'll see up here, sugarmansbath.com/service area. And then they've got Chula Vista, Claremont, El Cajon. If you were to scroll down on this on the actual website, you would see about, I believe, 30 approximately service areas. Also, we've got the blog here. You can see this is the blog section. And we've got different blogs here. Again, each of them optimized for certain geo keyword pairs. Now, here's what you need to know. 50% of all the websites that we audit, remember the average score is 27. 50% have fewer than 10 special forces troops on the website at all. Now, here's what that means. So here's an example right here. 10 core pages, 0 blog pages, 0 service area pages. I don't need to know anything else about this website. I don't need to look at it. I don't need to read the content. I don't need to know what color it is. I don't need to know anything about it. I can look at this little statistic, 0 blog pages, 0 service area pages, and I can tell you definitively they're not getting any traffic and they're not getting any leads. Doesn't mean that they won't get a one-off weird lead every once in a while. They might. Here's what it means. They ain't generating 300 leads a month, 200 organic leads a month. It's not happening. 1,000,000% sure it's not happening. And also, again, guess what? Other companies are getting those leads. The leads exist. Remember, it was the 99 million or billion or whatever it was searches a day happening on Google, 2 trillion a year or something like that. The searches are happening. You're just not getting found if you've got no special forces troops. It's not going to happen. Okay. Now, it's not enough to just have the special forces troops, the geo keyword optimized pages. They have to be optimized properly. And this is where a lot of people fall down on their faces. Okay. So the pages that you do create have to send the right signals to Google to let Google know where the page is relevant and what the page is relevant for. Now, this is a little bit nerdy here. So please pay careful attention and sort of will yourself to understand some stuff that's nerdy here. I'm going to put this on the screen, okay? There's 6 things. I want you to take a screenshot, get your phone out, take a picture of this. I want you to understand this stuff, okay? Because you might be looking at it going, okay, I don't really know what this means. I'm going to walk you through it. It's going to take about 5 minutes, and then you're going to understand. You're going to understand a lot. This is really important, okay? So here's what we've got. The page URL, that's the URL, that's the web address of the individual pages on your website. I'll show you examples in just a minute. Then the directories, headers, image names, content, and maps. Let me show you what all of this stuff is, and you're going to have a light bulb come on your head, come on over your head within the next 2 to 3 minutes. Trust me. Here we go. Ready? Okay, so first of all, right here, service areas. If I click now on Chula Vista, here's what comes up. This is the URL up here, sugarmansbath.com/service areas/Chula Vista. Okay, so this is telling Google, hey, this is a service area page because it's in what we call a service area directory. You see this right here, service areas. It's really important to put this in the right directory so that Google has an understanding logistically of what stuff is and where stuff is, okay? Chula Vista is the specific city that that we're optimizing for here. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on this tub to shower conversion, and here's the page that comes up. Now, let's go through that list that I just gave you a minute ago of things that are sending signals to Google. First of all, right here is the URL, and I want you to notice something very important. sugarmansbath.com/service areas. There's that directory, which is important, but now look at this. What's the geo keyword pair? Chula Vista tub to shower conversion. That's the geo keyword pair. It's right there in the URL. It's literally right there in the URL. We're giving a signal to Google that says, hey, guess what? Here's a service area page, and here's what it is, where it is, and what it's for. And then if you are to right click on this photo, this little save as comes up, and this is telling us the name of this photo. The name of the photo is Sugarman's Bath Tub to Shower Conversions, Chula Vista, California. That's the geo keyword pair. It's actually in the name of the photo. This is a very strong signal to Google to say, hey, guess what this page is for and where this page is relevant. Then if you scroll down, and I'm simulating scrolling down because this is a PowerPoint and it's just a slide, here's what you're going to see. This is what's called the H1. Now, H stands for header, 1 stands for first. H1, the first header. This is code that websites use to tell Google where stuff is. Look what it says. Transform your what? Chula Vista, California's home from dull to stunning with what? Tub to shower conversion. The geo keyword pair is in this H1, in this first header. Google looks at every page's H1, which is coded, to see what the page is about. And we have to tell it. If we don't tell Google in the H1 what the page is about, it won't know. See how this works? Okay, so now we've told it in the URL, then we told it again in the photo name. Now we've told it in the H1. Now, in the content, Chula Vista, tub to shower conversion, San Diego area, that's a broad geo indicator. And then again, Chula Vista. And then we start getting into something called diggability, where we're going to create links on this website to some of our identity-based information that helps people understand who we are, how we're different, why we're better, what people can expect when they do business with us, okay? So this is going to allow people to click through to other stuff, which is going to raise what we call dwell time on the website, which is a strong signal to Google that, hey, Google sent people to this link. People are staying on there for a long time. That means they must like it. I want you to understand something. Dwell time is the most important metric that Google is looking at, and it'll never change because this is the metric that allows Google to know if actual humans actually like the actual stuff that they're actually looking at. If they stay on it for a long time, if they click through to other pages, it's a great signal. If they hit the back button right away, that's a crappy signal. You understand how this works? Pretty simple. Okay, we got some more links here, and then finally at the bottom, we've got a map. What kind of map is it? Yes, correct. It is a Google map, which means that people are looking at it going, yep, it's Google, and Google looks at it and goes, hey, I know where that is because it's a Google map, okay? So here's what I did. I just walked you through those elements, the URL, the directory, the header, the content, the picture name, and the map, okay? Spoiler, guess what? only 20% of websites with enough special forces troops are properly geo keyword optimized, which leaves only 10% of all the sites. Here's what I'm telling you. Half of the websites we look at, they don't even have these pages in the first place. And of the ones that do have some of these pages, 80% of them are not properly optimized, which means that you've got this very, very small percentage of websites that are doing it right, that are gobbling up all of the leads. So here's what you need to think about. Do I want to be in that percent, or do I want to be in the crappy percent? And the answer probably is in the percent that's doing it right. Now, let me show you how this looks in real life. Okay. So here's a company that has 24 blog pages, 130 service area pages. You look at this, go, wow, they're only scoring 15 out of 100. Why is that? And down here in the detail, service area pages, they're only scoring 5 out of 50. Look, 50 points is the weight that we're putting on service area pages out of 100 in this troops getting in the battle. And they're only getting 5. Well, why? They've got 130 of them. Well, here's why. Because they are very horribly optimized. Look at this. Red dirt construction, snowflake, residential roofing. Okay, so that's okay, but look down here. Here's the H1, your residential roofing partner, there's no geo. You look at this image name for this photo, it's not geo keyword optimized. Here's another example. This company has a lot of blogs, no service area pages, but look what happens when you look at their blogs. Look at the URL. Columbine Roofing LLC, blog, 2025, January, top 5 roofing materials you should know about. Here's a question for you. What's the geo for this? Answer, nobody knows, including guess who? Google. What about here in the H1? Top 5 roofing materials you should know. What's the geo? Nobody knows, because this company that has created this blog page, I want to make sure you understand what's happening here. This company is paying good money to an agency to create this content that has no prayer of working because it's not optimized properly. Is that discouraging? And the answer is yeah. Also, it's very common. There's a reason why the average score is 27. The more pages, the better your chances. Here's what we see. Most sites begin with 30 to 60 core pages. Then you add the special forces troops, the service area, and the blog pages, optimized for geo keyword pairs like we've talked about. Okay. The more properly optimized pages you add, the more chance you have of winning. It's that simple. If you don't have these pages, you will lose. That's straight up. You're going to lose if you don't have these pages and if they're not optimized properly. Now, last point here, the web pages have to be engaging. I talked about this a moment ago. Google monitors how humans interact with the content. The content, therefore, has to be relevant to the search, so it scratches the itch. If they're looking for roofing information and they go to a page that talks about windows, that doesn't scratch the itch. That's not a good fit. So you want to make sure that you got relevant content, but even more important than relevancy, well, equally as important, it's got to be interesting and engaging. Interesting and engaging. And this is one of the areas where my agency, Level 10 Contractor, really, really shines, because if you were listening to me a little bit earlier, I said that my personal core competency is not technology, but it's content. It's writing content that's interesting and engaging, that moves the needle. That could go into radio, TV ads, it could be a print ad, it could be a home show booth, it could be a mailer. Back in the olden days, in the 90s, it was a Yellow Pages ad, for crying out loud. But here's what also it is now. It's web pages that actually are interesting and relevant, that make people want to do business with you. And again, this is based on the identity, okay? Diggable, we talked about this, steering visitors to additional content, the dwell time goes up. Now, we don't have a lot of time to go through this, so you might want to just take a quick snapshot of this, or take a photo of it, screenshot, whatever makes sense for you. This is what we call the 5 pillars of identity. And this is how we work out a company's identity. Every single company's identity is unique to them. It's different based on different things that they excel at, that they're good at, that their customers love them for, that they've put time and effort into. I don't really care what your identity is. What I care about is that we can identify it and build a case that we can take to the jury, which is the people that are reading your website, in that quick legal analogy that I just gave you. So it can be based on your products, your workmanship, your bedside manner, your core values, culture and reputation. And I'll show you some examples of this in just a minute as we go through some live web searches, but I'll get to that in just a minute. For now, just know that this is really, really important, but for sake of time on today's webinar, we're going to focus less on the identity portion of this, which is really critical. We're going to focus more on the geo keyword optimization end of this, okay? So just know that this is important, all right? Here's what we found. Almost none of the content that we audited is relevant, interesting, and engaging. Almost none. Now, hopefully you're drawing a conclusion right now. And the conclusion goes like this. Number one, there's tons of web searches happening. They're just not coming to us. Number two, to get those searches to come to us, we've got to have troops in the battle, and the troops have to be optimized properly. Okay, great. Also, the content has to be interesting and engaging and relevant. Okay, perfect. Let's see. This guy Rich just told me that literally nobody is doing this. Not literally nobody, but almost literally nobody is doing this. Very, very few. What a great opportunity. What a great opportunity. Because here's what you need to understand. You don't have to outrun the bear. You only have to outrun the other guy who's also being chased by the bear. The competition in this industry, as it relates to websites, is so horrifically bad that as long as you come along and you're halfway decent at doing everything that I'm talking about today, you're going to win. That's why I can generate consistently 200, used to be 150, it's up to now 200 a month organic leads for Sugarman's Bath without really breaking a sweat, because we're just doing it and it just works and nobody else is really doing it. So it's easy to win. I don't mean nobody's doing it, but I mean almost nobody. You take 100 competitors and you immediately narrow it down to 3 to 5. Man, choking to death. All right. Also, we want to get Google Business Profile leads. This is the map section. So there's some things you can do here. Let me show you what that is. This is Sugarman's Bath Google Business Profile. I want you to pay attention to this right here. See where it says updates? This is your biggest opportunity to influence the Google Business Profile results. Because here's what's going to happen. If you've got an address in San Diego, okay, see this? San Diego. This is a San Diego search. They're showing up first. Why? Because they have a physical address in San Diego and it's verified by Google. You know how that whole Google verification thing goes for your address. It's a pain in the butt and it's there for a reason because they don't want people trying to game the system, okay? But if you want to show up in other areas that aren't where your actual office location is, what you can do is you can create geo keyword optimized content, service area pages and blog pages, and then you can post them as updates on your Google Business Profile. And then here's what that tells Google Business Profile. Oh, they do this thing in this place. And if you post enough of that kind of information, enough products in enough places, Google starts to say, well, I guess they're doing stuff there. And you start to show up in the map section for areas where you don't have a physical office. Does that make sense? It's how it works. In fact, I will go as far as to say this. There's no other way to make it work consistently outside of your little town where you happen to live and happen to have your address. There's no way to make I hear this all the time. Oh, we're going to optimize your Google Business Profile. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to do it. And here's how I know you're not going to do it. Because you haven't figured out how to create properly optimized geo keyword optimized content that you can now post to the Google Business Profile. How are you going to post stuff that you don't have? Well, we're going to post a job site that we did. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I'm just telling you, it's not going to work. Okay. Now, you can test this yourself. See it says right here, screenshot this slide. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to take any of these cities and any of these keywords and do a search. Now, I'm going to actually go and do this right now live with you because, I don't know, probably might be fun. All right, so here we are. This is Google. This is Sugarman's Bath's website. I'm going to go over here. You see this? This is incognito window. I'm going to open a new incognito window. Why incognito? Because if Google sees my search history and it knows that I've been on Sugarman Bath's website, then it will bias towards that as a search result. And I don't want to do that because I want to show you that this works even without the search history bias. So I'll come in here and I'll go Chula Vista, California, tub to shower conversion. Now look, this is a little bit risky for me to do live on a webinar because maybe the results won't be good. I doubt it. Let's see. All right, let's see. First thing that comes up, service areas, Sugarman's Bath. It's the very first result. Let's see. Well, we didn't make it into the map pack here. Did we make it into any of these areas? Oh, look, we also made it down here. So we're the first in roughly 6. Now I can also come in here and try, instead of Chula Vista, let's try Escondido. Okay, and let's see if we show up here. And boom, number 3. This is how you generate literally 200 leads a month. You just geo keyword optimize for all of the battles that you want to fight in. Look, I can even do this for San Diego bathroom remodel. Can't type. I want you to understand, this is a really hard search term to rank for. Why? Because it's very broad. And let's see who shows up. There we are in the map section. And boom, there we are on the first page. See how this works? Oh, but Rich, what about AI? I don't know. Let's go over to Grok and let's ask Grok, who should I hire for a tub to shower conversion in Chula Vista, California? And let's see what Grok says. Oh, look, I'm seeing it right there. That's the logo, bath fitter. Oh, Sugarman's Bath. Why? Here's why. Here's links to their website. I can also click this to see the web pages. Now it's just like a search engine. And there, oh, look at this. It's the second and third result and fifth result. Let's keep going. Maybe it's more. No, second, third, and fifth. Oh, there it is also down here. Senior friendly. All right, we showed up 4 times on this sucker. Will this work when AI takes over? Yes, because how else is AI going to know what it is you do and where you do it unless you put the signals on the pages? It's the same thing. Oh, watch this also. Let's go up here. San Diego bathrooms. Let's do a quick image search. Let's see. Are we showing up here? Well, this is a little bit harder to show up. I think if we go over here to Chula Vista tub to shower conversion. Let's see what happens there. I think we show up better on the image. Yeah, look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I think we've seen enough. Here's what I want you to do. Screenshot this, go see for yourself, because here's what I want you to be saying to yourself. Okay, number 1, I hate agencies that do SEO because they all suck. Okay, fair enough. Number 2, this guy Rich has the audacity to show up here and say, hey, you could generate 200 leads a month from organic. No, you can't. Well, I don't know. Here's the terms. Go to an incognito window and search them. See if it shows up. Because I'm telling you, it works. It's not that hard if you just know how to do it. Now, look, just like everything else in life, there's a skill set involved to really do it well. You're probably going to need to have somebody do it for you, but the process is not that difficult. How long does it take? Well, it depends on how many troops you put into the battle. So here's a rule of thumb for you. For every 100 troops that you put into the battle, okay, here's what you can expect from organic, including search results and Google Business Profile. For every 100 troops, that's geo keyword optimized pages, special forces troops, service area pages, and blog pages, just to be redundant with what I've already said. Here's what you can expect. Bear case, pessimistic case, 25 quotable leads per month. Base case, 50 quotable leads per month. Bull case, which is the optimistic case, 75 quotable leads per month. Okay. Now, here's the cool thing you need to understand. Once the troops are in the battles, they stay there for freaking ever. Here's what I mean by that very specifically. You put 100 troops in battle over the first year. Next year, you put another 100 troops in the battle, so you've got 200. But guess what? Those first 100 troops that you put in the battle that you've already paid for, they just keep generating leads for you. How long? Forever. How long? Forever. How long? Forever. This is how it starts to compound over time, and you start getting more and more and more return on your investment because you don't just have 100 anymore. You don't just have 200 anymore. You've got 300, 375. Okay. Remember these guys? Remember these results? Look at this. Organic started at 134 and it kind of went up a little bit. It went down a little bit. It kind of ebbed and flowed. And November and December was a little bit lower. And then boom, it's really started to pick up. Why? Well, here's why. Because they're scoring 96 on their website audit. Why? Because they've got, look at this, 209 blog pages, all of them geo keyword optimized properly, 166 service area pages, all of them geo keyword optimized properly. Like, you can't make it not work. It's like, hey, I'm 500 pounds. I want to lose weight. Okay, here's an idea. Eat 1,500 calories a day and exercise for an hour a day. Do that for 2 years. You will lose all the weight. You just will. You can't not lose the weight. Oh, what about this exception where this person had a thyroid problem? I don't know about that. I just know this. 1,500 calories, an hour a day, you will lose the weight. 209 blog pages, 166 service area pages that are all optimized properly according to, remember, all the things that we talked about. It's going to work. Now, let me be very clear with you. Okay. They've got 375 special forces pages on this website. 375. Here's the base case. Remember what I said? 50 leads per 100 pages. So that means that we should expect 188 leads organic. Not even talking about pay-per-click here. I'm just talking about organic. They should expect about 188 leads per month. What are they actually getting? They're averaging 154. So it's a little bit behind, but there's more to the story. Look at the more recent months. These are the last 3 months. Look what's happening. 186. Okay. The last 3 months, the average is 197. What is the expected number? 188. I mean, it's just right on target. How long have they been doing this for? Well, about 3.5 years. Well, does it take 3.5 years to build up? Yeah, but it doesn't take 3.5 years for it to start working. It takes 3.5 years till you start getting 200 leads in a month, like you're seeing here. Again, remember, quotable leads. Okay, so it's 177 against the expected 188. Now, here's what you need to understand. In November of 2024, which is 6 months ago, they only had 320 troops. Now, what? 375. Why? Because we're continuing to put more troops. People say this all the time. Hey, Rich, if I do SEO with you for a year or for 2 years, do I have to keep doing it forever? No, of course not. You don't have to do anything. There's no requirement in life to do anything. But if you want to continue to put more troops and more battles so that you can get more leads, then you probably should do this. And we've seen the results, which is an increasing number of leads. And look, also check this out. Their pay-per-click has improved too. Why? Because Google loves, there's a synergy between your pay-per-click and your organic. And if your organic is humming and if your pay-per-click is humming, they're going to mutually lift each other up. Look at this, 458 freaking leads last month for this company. Man. So here's what I want you to consider. Having us audit your website. I put this on the screen earlier. It was a little bit earlier in the presentation. You're like, I don't really know if I trust this guy. I don't really know if I believe this. I don't know if I really actually have a problem. Hopefully at this point of this juncture of the webinar, you're saying, okay, that seems like a thing that probably I should pay attention to. So go ahead and fill that out. And I'm going to ask Megan to come back on. Megan, is there anything, do we have any questions or any questions that either you have or other people have?
I was just going to open it up for that. Anybody that has a question, please send the question in or type it in the chat, and Rich will be happy to answer that. That was excellent information. A lot of stuff I didn't know, and I've been in home improvement marketing for quite some time. A lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of buzzwords in there, Rich, that you were able to explain in a way people understand, and I think that's important because otherwise we've all gotten taken. And I say taken, we voluntarily have gotten taken by agencies because we didn't do our research, or they were just a local guy that, does this, and they don't understand our business the way someone like Rich does, right? They just don't understand the way that our customers search for things. And so I thought that was super enlightening. I did get we do have a question here. John Prunier has asked, should we do county pages or direct city town pages, Rich?
The more specific, the more effective it's going to be. So here's what I did not just say. Don't do county pages. County pages are okay, but you definitely want to look, it's a hierarchy. So this is what I would suggest everybody do. List all of the cities that you service, all of them. If it's 50, list 50. If it's 300, list 300, and then put them in order of how important they are to your business. And you can decide what makes them important. Maybe they're close to your office, so it's easy to drive to them. Maybe it's historically you've done well there. Maybe they're where rich people live and you want to do business there, whatever it is. And you start knocking out these geo keyword optimized pages just based on what's the most important. You pick the biggest, fattest apple on the lowest branch of the tree first.
Lowest hanging fruit. Good choice. All right. Thank you for that, Rich. I have a question that I got asked since I'm waiting on any more questions. I'm sure more will come in. But I had a question I got asked today, and somewhat has to do with this, but somewhat not, but it is internet marketing related. How do you feel about geofencing around show and events? I had a client actually ask me that today. And I mean, I've heard some mixed opinions. So I've had some clients try it, but I wanted to know your opinion on that. You're the expert.
Yeah, so geofencing is going to be more like for a Facebook type campaign where you're going to drop a fence around a specific location, and then when people walk into that, just for people who maybe aren't aware, uh, the the platform, Facebook, for instance, will see that the person's there and it'll start feeding them ads. I think it can be useful. I'm all for it. Um, Realistically, it's probably a relatively small part of your marketing strategy.
Sure.
Like,
So you think in conjunction with other things. So if we're working the show and we, want to hit on customers that are leaving that maybe we didn't capture, that might be a way to get some of those customers.
yeah, honestly, you mean make your own decision about the ethicalness of this. You can geofence your competitors' showrooms, and then people will be fed your ads. And if they hit your website, then they'll drop a cookie on their site, and then you can follow them around the internet. You decide if that's something that you want to participate in, because I guarantee you've got some competitors that are doing it to you, mostly only if you have a showroom. Like I've got a bunch of clients. I'm sure Megan, it's the same with you. They don't have offices that customers really come to, so that's not really a thing. But some
Sure.
do.
Yeah, we've got a
Some
few.
do.
John had another question for you. With local pages, should we target all geo keywords on one page for a city or make different pages for each product line per city, Rich?
Okay, again, same thing as before. The more specific you get, the better. So if I go to the service area pages for Sugarman's Bath, and I'm going to go to Chula Vista, if it ever comes up. One problem this client has with their website, they put so many plugins. We've tried to tell them not to, but it's making it slow. But I think my internet connection is bad. Jeez, this is terrible. Come on. Well, it just doesn't want to show up. I will say this. I'll give you an example. A different company, a company called Today's Entry Doors. They're also in Orange County. So there's 52 cities in Orange County. I happen to know because I have several clients that happen to be in Orange County. 52 cities, and they sell entry doors. So we, uh, we started looking through the kinds of doors they have, and we identified 9 different kinds of doors. So it's going to be wrought iron doors, contemporary doors, Dutch doors, double Dutch doors, and 5 others that I can't remember off the top of my head. So we go in and actually for every geo location, Irvine, Fullerton, Brea, et cetera, cities in Orange County, we create a Fullerton contemporary doors page, Fullerton wrought iron doors page, Fullerton Dutch doors page. The more specific you get, the more likely you are to grab that traffic because first of all, it's hyper specific. Second of all, your competitors probably aren't going that specific. So Google's going to look at that. Let me make sure everybody understands what's happening here. Somebody is sitting in Fullerton. They search the term double Dutch doors, and this client's Fullerton double Dutch door page pops up on the search results. Okay. They're not going to the website and going, hey, I wonder if they're in Fullerton. Hey, I wonder if they have double Dutch doors. They're going to that page first. And the more specific you are, the better chance you're going to have. So for Sugarman's Bath, what I was trying to show you when my internet hung up there is they break their bathrooms down into 6: tub to shower, shower to tub, bathtub replacement. What do you call it for old people? I forgot all of a sudden.
Walk-in tub.
Thank you. Walk-in tubs and 2 others that I can't remember. So the more specific, the better. But
Yeah.
like with the cities, you have to create a hierarchy of what's the most important, the lowest hanging fruit.
I think that's very important.
Well, every
Um,
troop that you put into battle is by definition an opportunity cost of a different troop that you could also be putting into battle. So you just have to determine which is going to give you the most bang for the buck.
how's your dollar gonna go furthest with which
Yeah.
troop? Yeah, that makes sense. Great answers. Yes. Anybody else have any questions? And if you haven't gotten with Rich to do a website audit, why not? I mean, why not? Because I got to tell you, if you're afraid of what we're going to uncover, that's why you should do it. So I would definitely, and I mean, we've heard a lot today, and you may be going, oh man, I don't know what our website looks like. That's why they do the free website audit. At the very least, you're going to get some great information on where you're lacking, where you can do better. And maybe there's some areas Rich is going to tell you you guys are doing okay, right? So, but man, what a great opportunity to have the expert tell you what's going on. So if you haven't already done this, I would take advantage of that right away. So yeah, definitely. Okay, any other
Yeah,
questions? Go ahead, Rich.
anything that's marketing, like think about the things that you guys do over there at Tony Hody Training and Consulting, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
This is my opinion. Everything that's involved with marketing can work, and also it cannot work.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how dedicated you are to it, how much you understand it, how flexible you are, and different approaches with it. Like I'm sure you've heard plenty of people say, "Oh, we did canvassing, it doesn't work." No, no, you
Oh,
just didn't do it well. Oh,
correct.
well, we had a phone center and it did, we got a rehash program and it didn't work. No, you just didn't do it well. We did
Correct.
retail stores.
Yeah. Yep, we get that a lot. And that's with anything. And I say the same thing. I have the same opinion when people say, well, does direct mail work? Does call center, does canvassing work? It all works. It's at what cost, right? It's at what cost can you predict a result? And that's the other thing to consider, right? Um, you know, digital leads are not going away. So it's better that we get ahead and start working on that now rather than think we'll get to that someday in terms of our strategy, right? And the other thing that digital leads that Rich is talking about, it supports every other avenue that you're doing because, with canvassing nowadays, even if you knock on a door, you're working special events, the first thing the customer is going to do, even if they do sign up for an appointment with you, is look you up online. And if they can't find you or you're not easily accessible, their opinion of what your company is like is going to be much lower. And so every single lead source is affected by this. And so I think that's why it's such a pertinent thing that we need to look into and be on top of. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember asking you one time, I said, hey, if like you guys offer a lot of different services over there and they're all important. But I asked you, what is the most important one? And if I tell me if I'm wrong, you said it's the working the phones. Because if you don't work your phones right, you're losing what you've already gathered. It's like falling through the bottom of the bucket. Like
Hmm.
canvassing and other lead gen, great, but if you're not handling your phones right, you're just killing yourself. And I feel the same way about this. That's why I'm so passionate about it. It's like Google is a thing. It's been a thing for a long time, and we're now in freaking 2025, and there's still 80 to 90% of contractors that have not figured out how to optimize against it. And it's maddening.
Hmm.
It's like
Absolutely.
having a crappy like nobody answering the phone. It's like
Right.
why how is that even a thing now?
Yes, exactly. Drives us nuts, right? It's like fingernails on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
It's such a, and I'm sure, Rich. I mean, as you know, so many companies will say, "Well, I know an agency that'll do it cheaper, or I'll do it this or do it that way." But how many of those cheaper agencies have you paid paying the dumb tax with no result? Because then it's not any cheaper, right? All you did was set yourself back. And so I think that's an important point to make. You'll always, it's just like with our products, right? You'll always find somebody that can do it cheaper, but the reality is you're not going to get what you don't pay for.
Doesn't it blow you away, Megan, when you're talking to a business owner in this industry? And look, we're both in this industry for a long time. We love them. They're awesome. I have a lot of good friends in this industry, but it's so infuriating when the guy is out there selling windows for $1,800 to $2,200, and he's spending all this time and effort training his sales staff how to convince people that they should pay 2,000 instead of 800 for a window. And yet when it comes to handling their phone center or their website or their SEO, they're like, oh, well, there's a guy that'll do it cheaper.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
And it sucks.
and that's it's such a sad part of what we do is we don't take our own advice. The advice we would give the customer, which is if you don't spend enough, it can really have terrible results, right? And yet we turn around and say we're not going to invest in training or we're not going to invest in a professional for our web presence, which is the most important marketing cornerstone that we have, right? Like it just doesn't make sense. And so sometimes we have to pay a lot of dumb tax, right? Now, here's Rich and Megan telling you don't have to pay any more dumb tax, right? I've got the phones covered for you, and he's got the digital side covered for you, and we can help. So reach out and ask for help, ask questions, right? So
Yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah, Wonderful.
Thanks for having me today, Megan. I look forward to seeing you at in June at the
Yes,
event
Legion,
in where is it again?
Legion
The,
Expo in Cleveland.
Cleveland,
Yes.
right?
You're coming to Cleveland. Yes. Can't wait to see you. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're doing June 4th and 5th. If you guys didn't get enough great Rich and Megan today, there's much more in person, Rich and Megan. First week of June, 4th and 5th, we're going to be talking about all things leads. We'll also talk about some sales. We're going to talk about more internet marketing and different digital things. We've got some great stuff planned, great speakers. Joe Tallman, an absolute industry legend, will be there. He'll have some great things to share. And yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone there. You can go ahead and get registered on our website, or you can reach out and we can direct you as to how to get registered for that. But yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing you there. And thanks everybody for attending. We will be sending out the recording at some point. We'll get that over to you via email so that you have this. I know a lot of you have actually sent in questions and said, I want to show this to someone else in my company. Can I get the recording? And so I'd love to get that to you. So we'll make sure you get that as well.
All right. Thanks, Megan. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Have a great one.